Do you have two? Is it just? I apologize for, oh, it's loud. You guys hear me? I apologize for being late. We had a good long discussion in our closed session, so I'm sorry for being late today. Ms. Collier is not here, so I'll help run the meeting. Please help me. Keep you on the straight path, please. I think the first thing we got to do is we end our closed meeting, and someone read the certification statement, please.
Yes, sir, I'll read it. Whereas the Madison County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, therefore be it resolved that the Madison County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
And Ms. Patterson, you'll call the roll.
Second.
Mr. Martz,
I certify.
Mr. Sheets,
I certify.
Mrs. Wood,
I certify.
Mr. Wingate.
I certify. And if you'll please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll do a moment of silence, and I'd invite you to keep Ms. Collier and her family in your prayers and your thoughts. Her family's going through a hard medical thing, so please keep her in your prayers and join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Alrighty, next is to approve the personnel matters and addendum, and I'll open the floor up for a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve personnel matters and addendum for May 13th, 2024 to include appointments, substitute appointments, resignations, terminations, transfers, retirements, volunteers, and summer school remediation staff as presented.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no, and the motion passes. I will make a quick announcement about personnel matters. Have a big announcement to make in terms of kind of sports, and that is the resignation of Ben Breeden and as the basketball coach here at Madison. I just wanted to thank him publicly. Thank him for his leadership and his work leading our high school basketball team. A high profile thing. 15 years of coaching. It's a lot of practices. They get paid at very, very, very well below minimum wage in terms of hours in their dedication to that coaching. And so just want to thank him, and super successful, 15 years of coaching. There's hundreds of boys, young men, teaching important things. The records and things like that are super important. And I'll mention a couple, but even more important than that is teaching them hard work and teamwork and resilience and all those things you learn on the basketball court. And so I want to thank Ben so much for that. Remarkable record. In those 15 years, the state champions in 2010, region champions 3 times, and district champions 4 times. And so thanks to Ben Breeden, wish him well as he retires, and we'll start looking for somebody to take his place. But thanks, Ben Breeden. A round of applause for him. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. I'll open the floor up for a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve of the May 13th, 2024 consent agenda as presented.
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion passes. And that brings us to recognitions and presentations. Ms. Graham.
Our senior of the month is not here this evening. It's Jeremiah Adams. However, he attended the senior of the month banquet, and he was announced then. So next up is our employee of the month, and our employee of the month comes from the primary school. So Mr. Coiner will come up and announce our employee.
I'm pleased to recognize Brooke Clore this evening as the Madison County Public Schools Employee of the Month for May 2024. Over the years that Brooke has been with us at Madison Primary School, she has time and again demonstrated her willingness to do whatever is necessary to ensure that our children receive the very best. Brooke serves as an instructional assistant in our special education department, a demanding and crucial position to be sure, and she completes the duties of that position with the highest level of expertise. Of course, being so adept at her job sometimes comes with a bit of a downside, and that when a tough assignment arises, Brooke is often the one who draws it. To her credit, she has not once complained. I don't know what she tells her husband when she goes home, but she has never once complained to me. She simply goes about completing the assignment with the same level of vigor and dedication that she demonstrates every day. More than once, I have asked Brooke to change her schedule or to cover a position in which she is unfamiliar and at a moment's notice. Like she does everything else, she just jumps in and does the job perfectly. Brooke works alongside Stephanie Gerard each day, at least on those days that I don't whisk her away. And Stephanie had the following to say about Brooke. Brooke is a wonderful, caring person to work with. She is dedicated to the students that she works with and wants what is the best for them. Brooke is a consistent, reliable, caring person that Madison is lucky to have. In the classroom, she was always willing to help out and to do whatever is needed. Her calm demeanor and sense of humor are great assets and help us get through the day. Congratulations, Brooke. And Brooke, thank you so much for everything that you do and continue to do for the faculty and staff and students at Madison Primary School. And congratulations on this much deserved recognition.
Thank you very much.
So next up, we have a regional art contest winner with us. If Miss Saya Brown would come down. So there is Saya's piece of art that won second place for our whole region. So many different school divisions were involved, and she took second out of all the entries. So that's quite an accomplishment. So we wanted to celebrate her here. There's a certificate from the school board, but there's also a certificate from the art contest as well. So congratulations, and there's her piece of art.
All right. Okay, so we are super excited this evening to recognize the recipients of the Teaching, Learning, and Caring Awards for Madison County Public Schools. Schools have selected the teachers and staff members they believe most deserve each of these awards. The Teaching Award honors those teachers who model creativity, passion, new approaches, and a deep love for the field of education. The Learning Award honors those teachers who believe learning is about change, becoming better, smarter, faster, and developing and modeling new skills. And the Caring Award honors those staff members who go above and beyond in showing kindness, compassion, respect, trustworthiness, and generosity. So at this time, each principal is going to share the recipients of each award from their respective schools. And we're going to start with the primary school and Mr. Coiner.
I'm happy to recognize Jarrett Caldwell tonight as the recipient of the Teaching Award at Madison Primary School. I first met Jarrett at the Shenandoah Valley Job Fair, where a team of Madison administrators was set to interview a host of candidates. Jarrett, then due to earn her degree from James Madison University in the coming months, was my first interview of the day. I knew right away that I was talking with the rising star, not only because she had all of the right answers, but also due to her self-assured and confident demeanor. It was clear to me that she would be dynamic in the classroom, but our school did not have a current opening. I left that day thinking that somebody was going to make a home run hire. After a couple of months, a position did come available in our school, and Jarrett was the first person who came to mind. I was skeptical as to whether or not this young woman from Northern Virginia would be interested in a formal interview in rural Madison County, but her excitement over the invitation reassured me, and I turned out to be that lucky person who made that home run hire. From day one, Jarrett demonstrated her expertise in the classroom, but it is her uncanny ability to recognize the individual needs of her students, coupled with her efforts to meet those needs, that truly exemplify the creativity and passion that this award represents. If you visit Jarrett's classroom on any given day, you're likely to see her using sign language or speaking Spanish, not because the curriculum demands it, but rather as a response to the needs of her students. She saw that there were significant communication barriers that needed to be overcome to ensure that every child had the same opportunity to learn, and she was passionate about providing that opportunity. There is no question that Jarrett stands out in her profession, and she remains to this day the only teacher who has ever asked me if she could bring her cow to school. Now, I think she was kidding, but I must say, if she ever makes it a condition of her employment, Ruthie Mae will be the first thing you see when you pull into our parking lot. Thank you so much for everything you do, Jarrett. Gracias y felicidades. It's my honor to present the Learning Award for Madison Primary School to Ms. Desiree Van Hoven. This is Desiree's first year with us at the primary school as our reading specialist, and she has already made such a positive impact on our students and staff. When you look at the criteria for this award, Desiree certainly checks every box. Implementation of knowledge and skills, check. Desiree provides reading intervention services for students throughout the building, collects and analyzes progress data, and creates learning plans for every student with whom she works. She leads professional development sessions for faculty and staff, particularly associated with the Virginia Literacy Act, and provides teachers with individualized classroom support. Contributes to her own professional growth? Check. Desiree has completed coursework in alignment with the upcoming state requirements and is currently in pursuit of her doctorate at Liberty University. Wants positive change and shows something different in herself? Check. In addition to her assigned duties, Desiree works tirelessly after contract hours in support of student learning. She took it upon herself to ensure that everyone had the opportunity to access our monthly family nights at MPS by procuring a school van and running a shuttle service for families who otherwise would be unable to attend. And oh yes, she is the head coach for the JV soccer team. Sometimes I just sit back and think, wow, being 24 was awesome. But seriously, it's about so much more than energy. It's about heart, and she certainly has that. The ones who probably recognize this the least are the students. You know, the students were more worried the first few weeks of school. They just kept asking me, "Is that Barbie?" And I assured them that it was not. But as the year went on, I started to think, you know, maybe she is Barbie. You know, we have reading specialist Barbie. We have transportation Barbie. It could come with the little school bus. We have soccer Barbie, college student Barbie, eventually Dr. Barbie. And all of that is well and good as long as she continues to be Madison Primary School Barbie. Thank you so much for everything you do, Desiree, and congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Yep, we have one more. Thank you. And finally, it's my pleasure to recognize Patty Butterworth as the recipient of the Madison Primary School Caring Award for 2024. What can I say about Patty Butterworth other than she may quite possibly be the kindest person in Madison County? Those of you who know her husband, Tom, know that he is a kind soul as well, and if you've met their children, Emily and Ben, you surely took notice of the family trait. In fact, the first time I met Emily, I thought, oh my goodness, it's little Patty. But the first thing one notices about Patty is her infectious smile, one that seemingly endures regardless of circumstances. When I think back over the years about all of the times that Patty went above and beyond for our school and our children, I remember it being with a smile on her face. Some years ago, MPS was in need of a media specialist, and I felt like we had a good one on staff already. I asked Patty about her interest in filling the position, knowing that the transition from the classroom, including her completion of necessary coursework, would mean an increased workload. But she accepted the challenge and never lost that smile. During a year where Patty relocated her library not once but twice as a mixed result of our building renovation and the pandemic, she never lost that smile. When she was asked to provide services virtually, then at 2 different locations, she never lost that smile. Patty will also be the first person to ask you how you are doing if you've been sick or if you're going through a challenging time, certain to offer support, encouragement, and understanding. This rings true in her interactions with our children as well. She is passionate in supporting their academic needs and compassionate in supporting them emotionally. Patty is the epitome of what we want our school to be, and we are lucky to have her as a part of our MPS family. Thank you for all you do for us, Patty, and congratulations on this recognition. And now Waverly.
Good Good evening. We're going to start with our teaching award from Waverly Owl Elementary. It is with great pleasure that Waverly Owl Elementary recognizes Mrs. Lauren Cook as its 2023-2024 Teacher of the Year. Lauren is a fifth grade teacher at Waverly Owl and serves as the grade level department chair. As the teacher leader in the building, she is always thoughtful and kind, keeping students' needs at the forefront. Lauren is creative and consistently seeks to incorporate strategies to keep her students engaged while learning challenging skills and concepts. Lauren's colleagues share. She brings innovation and creativity into her classroom. She develops innovative teaching methods, effectively incorporates technology, and creates engaging and relevant lesson plans that inspire curiosity and enthusiasm for learning. Lauren does a wonderful job incorporating multiple learning styles into academic lessons. She makes learning fun and engaging for students. She truly cares about student success and provides them with multiple chances in various ways that best suit the student. Her main goal is for all her students to become as successful as possible and become the best version of themselves. Lauren Cook models creativity, passion, new approaches. She's taught long enough to understand what does and doesn't work, and a deep love of our profession for others. Lauren does all this good teaching directly related to student learning. She involves clarity of instruction and academic tasks, multiple opportunities for students to engage, provides collaborative conversations, guided practice opportunities, essential understanding versus recall of trivial facts, and measurable learning outcomes. Lauren models creativity, passion, new approaches, and a deep love of our noble profession. I could not have said this better myself. How honorable to be recognized by her peers for such a job well done. Thank you, Mrs. Cook, for your service and dedication to your students, their families, and the teaching profession. Thank you, Lauren. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I got messed up here. Waverly Owl is excited to introduce Mrs. Christina Dickens, Reading Specialist, as its recipient of the 2023-2024 Learning Award. Mrs. Dickens joined the Waverly Owl staff in November of this year and immediately began positively impacting students and staff. In the short time she has been with our Waverly community, she has actively listened to students and staff and provided outstanding reading support. She worked diligently to create student schedules, met with teachers regarding strategies for reading instruction, and consistently asked for ways to get involved in the Waverly community. Mrs. Dickens meets with parents to discuss ways their students can strengthen and build their reading skills, and is always willing to volunteer for after-school parent engagement opportunities. Mrs. Dickens' colleagues share. Chris goes out of her way to ensure the students she works with are successful. If they make a poor choice, she always explains why they should not do it and how it impacts their learning and those around them. She's a fantastic addition to our staff. Christina Dickens came in late to the school year but worked hard to implement programs and meet students' needs. She uses her current skills while openly embracing learning new skills to help our lowest readers. I love her passion for reading instruction and her goal to keep getting better. She's been a wonderful addition to our team. Mrs. Dickens is a positive and encouraging teacher leader in our building. Many of our conversations end with, "We're going to get there," and we are together. Thank you, Mrs. Dickens, for your love and enthusiasm for learning. Last but certainly not least, we have our Caring Award. Kindness, caring, compassion, respect, generosity, and trustworthiness are all adjectives that describe Mrs. Rachel Dove, Waverly Owl School Counselor. Mrs. Dove consistently looks for opportunities to support all students at Waverly Owl. She runs our school-wide STAR program, which recognizes positive student character, and our fifth grade Waverly Dreamers program, which provides opportunities for our fifth graders to mentor others and participate in our learning community. This year, Mrs. Dove has coordinated with community agencies to provide food for students on weekends and during long school breaks. She frequently communicates with families concerning their students' needs and always works diligently to find a way to support them. Mrs. Dove meets with students regularly to provide them with support and strategies for success in the classroom and in social situations. She's respectful, kind, and compassionate regarding student support and their success in life and learning. Rachel's colleagues share she always follows up on our most fragile kiddos with check-ins and phone calls home. She is a great asset to our school. Rachel is a wonderful asset to our kiddos. She holds them accountable, but also supports them. She always allows students to voice their issues and struggles openly with no judgment in a safe environment. She guides students on the best path to not only help them in the present time, but also in their future. Rachel wants students to grow as individuals while having someone to support them. Mrs. Dove has successfully created opportunities for students to grow while building their personal confidence. Thank you, Mrs. Dove, for going above and beyond for our students and their families. Waverly Owl is honored to recognize you as the recipient of its 2024 Caring Award.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute honor to stand here tonight as we celebrate the Teaching Award for Wetzel Middle School. As I look around the room, I see so many dedicated and passionate educators who've made a difference in the lives of their students. This year's Teaching Award recipient is someone who truly embodies what it means to be an exceptional teacher, both inside and outside of the classroom. She is someone who goes above and beyond to support her students and her colleagues and is always looking for ways to improve the educational experience for everyone involved. I'm of course referring to Mrs. B.B. Slavin. Mrs. Slavin is a remarkable teacher who has made a significant impact on the lives of her students. Her colleagues have described her as one of the hardest working teachers on staff, someone who spends countless hours working with her students and who is always looking for new and innovative ways to engage them in the learning process. One of Mrs. Slavin's colleagues recently wrote that she works tirelessly to ensure that all of the students on her caseload are given proper support and held to a high standard. This is no small feat, and it speaks to Mrs. Slavin's unwavering dedication to her students and her profession. Another colleague wrote, "BB might be one of the hardest working teachers that we have on our staff. She spends countless hours working with teaching our kiddos, whether they are a special education student or not. In her eyes, every student deserves to be pushed to their fullest. BB is one of those teachers who doesn't want the credit, nor is doing this for the credit, because she is one who truly cares about her students and is always working to find new ways to make learning more effective and more entertaining for her students. She honestly deserves to be nominated for Teacher of the Year because of how much she will fight for her students and advocate for them. BB is a remarkable teacher that shouldn't be overlooked." It's this level of professionalism and dedication that makes Mrs. Slavin such a valuable member of the teaching community. She is someone who is always looking to improve those educational experiences for her students, who's willing to put in the time and effort necessary to make that happen. She has led the charge as the Special Education Department Chair for several years, providing sound guidance and leadership for her fellow teachers. As we celebrate Mrs. Slavin tonight, let us not only recognize her incredible achievements, but also the impact that she's made on many of the lives of students she has taught. Let us remember her as a role model for all of us and an inspiration to those who are just beginning this journey as educators. Mrs. Slavin, thank you for all that you do and for your unwavering commitment to your students. You are truly an exceptional teacher, and we are honored to have you as part of our school family. Mrs. Slavin was recently described as the queen of the 6th grade, and I couldn't agree more. Mrs. Slavin is someone who takes on extra work and responsibilities without complaint, and who is always willing to lend a helping hand to her colleagues and students alike. Keep up the good work. It is also my pleasure to be here to celebrate the Learning Award for Wetzel Middle School. This award recognizes the outstanding efforts of educators who go above and beyond to promote learning opportunities for their students. This honors a teacher who believes learning is about change, becoming better, smarter, faster, and developing and modeling new skills. Tonight, we honor a teacher who's dedicated to student and personal learning. Ms. Laura Daniel is an inspiring educator who has demonstrated a remarkable commitment to her students' learning and growth. Ms. Daniel is involved in a wide range of learning opportunities for herself and her students. She leads the FCCLA and FBLA clubs after school, fundraises, seeks out competitions and leadership experiences for her students, and is taking coursework herself. Ms. Daniel's colleagues have spoken highly of her work, and they have said some truly remarkable things about her. In particular, they have praised her work in creating the Family and Consumer Science class this year, which might be the most influential class in the building. Ms. Daniel worked hard to make this class come to fruition. It is a need that each and every one of our students should be required to take. The students who take this class are learning life skills that will help them succeed well past their school years. Ms. Daniel is an exceptional teacher who goes above and beyond to promote learning opportunities for her students. She's dedicated to her work and is always looking for new and innovative ways to engage her students in the learning process. Her colleagues have described her as one of the most hardworking teachers on staff, someone who spends countless hours working with her students, and who is always looking for new ways to improve that educational experience. Ms. Daniel's impact on the lives of her students is immeasurable. She's a role model for dedication, serving others, and an inspiration to those who are just beginning their journey. Ms. Daniel, thank you for all that you do and your unwavering commitment to your students. You're truly a selfless teacher, and we are honored to have you as a part of our school family. Let us celebrate Ms. Laura Daniel's achievements and the impact she has made on the lives of her students. Congratulations, Ms. Daniel, on a well-deserved honor as the recipient of the Learning Award for Wetzel Middle School. Congratulations. In one of those competitions, Ms. Daniel's group, Ms. Daniel, tell me the name of the competition you all just played in. The esports competition for FBLA just competed this Saturday and won the whole tournament. So that's something to celebrate. That's one of those leadership pieces she has just engaged in. And the Caring Award. It's also my honor and privilege to stand here and recognize an outstanding educator who's made a significant impact on the lives of her students and colleagues. As we celebrate the Caring Award for Wetzel Middle School, I'm delighted to announce that the recipient of this year's award is Jennifer Johnson. Jennifer is an exceptional teacher who goes above and beyond to show her students that she cares for them. She brings her life experiences as a mother of 3 into the classroom, creating a nurturing environment that helps students grow and develop into the best versions of themselves. Her colleagues have praised her for her firmness in holding students accountable for their words and behavior, while also showing them genuine love and care. She's been described as the epitome of a caring person, and with every student, she creates a strong relationship and rapport. Jennifer's dedication and commitment to her students are evident not just in her classroom, but also in the hallways and beyond. She's always finding ways to let her students know that she cares about them deeply, whether it is by bringing in a snack for a reward of effort and behavior, or talking to students through a difficult time in their personal lives. Jennifer is a team player and an important part of the 8th grade team. She's always willing to help her colleagues out wherever there is a need. Her wealth of knowledge and experience make her invaluable to her team, and her patience with some of the most difficult students is remarkable. She communicates expectations with care and understanding, making sure that every student feels seen and heard. In addition to her care for students, Jennifer also cares for her coworkers. She's a sounding board, confidant, and one of the biggest supporters at school. Whenever there's an issue that arises, she has her colleagues' backs, and her care for everyone in the school is something that should be noticed. Jennifer, thank you for all that you do and for your unwavering commitment to your students and colleagues. You're truly an exceptional teacher, and we are honored to have you as part of our school family. Keep up the good work and continue to inspire and touch the lives of those around you. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition, and may you continue to make a positive impact on the lives of those you touch.
Thank you. Good evening. So I'm from Madison County High School, and I'm delighted to introduce you all to Ms. Faith Vargas. She is a remarkable Spanish teacher at Madison County High School who embodies the core value of integrity with the utmost professionalism both inside and outside of the classroom. Her compassionate and sympathetic nature towards her students is admirable and makes her stand out among her peers. At MCHS, we place a great emphasis on instructional integrity during our professional learning sessions throughout the year and being the best teacher even when no one is watching. One teacher who truly exemplifies this is Mrs. Vargas. No matter when you visit her classroom, you'll find her students engaged in learning, and Mrs. Vargas implementing lesson plans tailored specifically to them. She is a go-to person for showcasing evidence-based instruction and high-leverage practices for classroom management, instructional delivery, assessment, and lesson planning. Mrs. Vargas' class is a place where learning extends beyond the classroom. Literally, as you walk down the hallway, her students' learning is showcased in the form of colorful and creative displays that add brightness and warmth to a secondary school's hallway. This school year, we have embraced learning walks as an instructional practice to foster professional learning within ourselves. Mrs. Vargas has hosted several teachers for these walks, and each time she is eager to share what she has learned and gained from her colleagues to improve her practice as a teacher, not just what she can give to everyone else. Apart from excelling in the classroom, Mrs. Vargas forms positive relationships with her students and colleagues naturally. She extends herself to assist in any way possible at school, from chaperoning prom to mentoring new teachers, working the student crosswalk each morning, greeting students, and even selling tickets at athletic events. We are truly grateful for her dedication and compassion toward her students and colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Vargas. And now for the Learning Award for Madison County High School. Trinity Smith has been a true inspiration to her colleagues and students alike. She has been recognized with the Learning Award at MCHS this year, and it's really not hard to see why. Moving just last year from a kindergarten teacher to a certified high school English teacher is a big leap, but Mrs. Smith handled it with grace, prepared upon being hired for her licensure test, and with determination and a passion, she met all requirements. She has an innate passion and commitment for serving students so that they can learn and attain success. She was also selected to be the instructional team leader of the English department midway through the year. This speaks volumes about her dedication to her profession and her willingness to not only lead but also learn. Mrs. Smith's sole focus this year has always been on her students' learning and development. Her approach towards teaching is filled with compassion and empathy, and she always ensures that her students' best interests are taken into account. She spends countless hours researching and implementing the best practices in her teaching methods and extends herself not only to lead others, but to learn and grow for them as well. She never takes shortcuts or makes excuses and is always willing to go the extra mile to ensure that every student's needs are met. In short, Mrs. Smith is a true gem in the teaching profession, and MCHS is so lucky to have her on our team. It is exciting to think about the future of the MCHS English department with Ms. Smith leading the way. Ms. Smith. And now for the Caring Award. Christine Blanc joined MCHS at the beginning of this school year to embark on her first year of teaching as she switched from her career as a real estate agent. I will always remember Christine's interview because she made a point during it to inform us that she was willing and would work for certification in whatever area we needed her the most. But ultimately, she just wanted to serve and teach kids and felt that is what she had been called to do. Now it's the end of the year, and she's being recognized with the Caring Award for MCHS. Needless to say, she's had an incredible first year and has not only proven herself professionally as a classroom English teacher, but she has prioritized being responsive to the needs of her students and colleagues from her very first day at MCHS. Mrs. Blanc, in just meeting her, she exudes warmth and positivity and extends herself to help in any way possible, from covering a drama class for an extended period of time due to a colleague's unforeseen absence, chaperoning events, taking time to understand and support students who may feel unheard by others, sending random but intentional positive messages and words of encouragement to colleagues, and walking into almost every single room with a warm smile that makes everyone feel safe and positive. It's hard not to feel cared for by Ms. Blanc, and after observing her grow and soar during her first year, I think the best lesson that we can all learn from her is to follow the path that brings you happiness to your heart and also shows across your face so others can use your light as motivation too. Mrs. Blanc, thank you for ultimately being yourself and providing all of us at MCHS a little more light and love this year. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so here we are, and ready to announce the Division Teacher of the Year. This is going to go to a teacher who has dedicated their career to helping students with unique learning needs reach their full potential. Their passion for teaching and commitment to their students is truly inspiring, and their innovative teaching methods and unwavering dedication have made a significant impact on the lives of their students. She truly embodies what it means to be an outstanding educator. Will Miss B.B. Slavin please come forward?
And before we move on, I just want to say, I was thinking about awards, and one of the things I learned serving in the military a long time was the importance of rewards, not for the plaques that you get, but you all tonight are really lifted up as standard bearers and role models in your schools, and the power of that is so strong that you lift up the schools by your example. And so thank you so much for that. Thanks for both being a role model to your students who will long remember you, but also for the folks, the teachers, your fellow teachers and leaders in your schools. And it's really, really, really important to have all stars in the schools to lift up the whole schools, and you all recognize tonight are that. So thank you very, very much for your work. All right. Next is Student School Board Representative Recognition.
Yes. We have a certificate for Miss Jenna Kropp. I want to say of all the student reps to the board that we've ever had, I want to thank you for being a true voice to the students. You did a great job. You shared with the board how you felt. You let them know what you were finding out in the schools, and you should be commended for that. So thank you, and we wish you luck on your journey.
And Jenna, what is next? Where are you headed? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much. All right, next is Madison Primary School First Grade Market Day.
Good evening. How are you? Good. So at the end of the last 9 weeks, we do our economics unit. And of course, all kids are invested in it because what do they love more than money and things? And so it really opens up that conversation to talk about needs and wants. And they really do have a good grasp on the difference between the two, though they like to try to sneak in that a PS5 is a need. But you know, it does spark a cool conversation. So this is just our economics in action. They worked really hard on creating products to sell. So they took the part of being a consumer, a producer, and then they got the chance to be a consumer. So through the slides, you'll be able to see the progress of this. And there's John Laundry. They really got into advertising and, you know, coming up with great gimmicks and buy one, get one. They explained the difference between being a consumer and producer, goods and services. People make choices because they can't have everything that they want, so they learned about an opportunity cost, an economic choice. And, you know, some of them actually did save money, which was really surprising. I said some. They were paid for producing their product, so they worked in a factory to produce a particular product. Each classroom had a choice of 4 different things they could produce. They created their desk pets, so they had a variety: sharks and chicks, turtles, dinosaurs, all sorts of things. So they were all given $10, or they earned $10 to start. Each class was split into 2 different groups. One group started out as the sellers, then the others were the consumers, and then they switched. So here they, little Enzo, working so hard. Oh, there's up in the right corner. He's just diligent working on that turtle. Each class came up with their own name, business name, store name. We had, I forget what Mrs. Klein was. Our class was Desk Pet Incorporated. And so one of our amazing brains figured out how to incorporate a logo into our store name. Is that on the next one? So they all came up with a price point. We talked about, you know, if you want to really sell your goods, you need to be able to make them affordable. and they were listening out to how much other classes were selling their products for. So we have Desk Pets Incorporated, Brockman's Beast Boutique, and all of our kids came up with their own names. Famous Animal Shop and Sparkle Desks. So after the stores were set up, they got the chance to be, like I said, either the buyer or consumer in another store. They got the chance to be a seller in their own store. And they even had some really good deals. The kids weren't afraid to ask, you know, I only have $3. Are you willing to sell that for $3 if it was priced at $5? And, you know, so they talked about, and some kids are like, I'm really not happy with my choice. Can I return it? So they really do have an understanding of buyer's remorse. And they are so proud of the products that they made and just really excited to put this out for their classmates to see. So we have cats and, I forget, octopus and snakes, and then, yeah, octopus up there. They really just dove right into this unit. And there's some more. We've got chicks, and look at the seriousness in the top right. She is ready to make a deal.
Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add?
They even noticed as we were doing the shopping, they noticed as we were doing the shopping that maybe kids weren't buying anything at their stores. So amongst themselves, they realized like, well, maybe we need to lower our price. So as a team that they would like get a marker out and cross out the price and lower it. And then they were surprised at how all of a sudden more people were coming and buying things. So it was really neat to put this real world situation into the classroom, into their project.
They, at the end of it there, that like push towards the end when it was almost time to close, but they still had all their stuff out, people from behind the desk went to come out and like take turns, be like, this is only for $3 now, $3. And they're just like shouting out to people in the hallway. It was great.
So like they only had $10 to spend. They had to make their choice on how to spend their money. So we really talked about spending and saving and what you could use if you saved your money, what you could use for in the future. And they got to take all of their products home, which they were super excited about. You would never think that paper, all of these were just made out of cardstock. And you would never think that things made out of paper would be so important to these kids. But, you know, they going through the whole process, they really did, you know, it was ingrained in them that economics is a real thing. And so they took pride in their product. So that is our economics market.
So which products sold out? 'Cause there's some tables that were empty.
They all were.
Oh, yeah.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Man.
My class didn't. It all went back to me. No. So, but we counted how much product did you have, how much money did you make, and so then we compared the amounts that they made, and maybe why did this store make so much more money? What did you sell your product for? How much product did you have to sell? You know, and they really got it. They really understood. Yeah. We really have. They're a great group of kids.
They are. It's fun to do those big projects because then you get to see how their brains work.
Yeah, and when they found out that we were going to have the market like we did at Christmas, they got so excited. Yeah, so excited. Yeah.
Make the sign.
Mr. Cornell, will you invite us next year to this? We'd like to feel fun to come.
Is bring your money. They drive a hard
Bring our
bargain.
money. And the Christmas one. And also, could I drop my 3-year-old off sometime? She's really confused about the difference between wants and needs. She's convinced they're the same thing. So if you could drop her off, that would be really good, maybe.
I mean, I understand that not all of us understand, myself included, the difference between a need and a want.
Yeah, a lot of them thought they could go into the company to go back and check. Well, that's not how it works.
But I ran out of money. Can I go back in?
Yeah.
No.
A couple of
The
them
ran out of
questioned
money.
that.
I had a lot of kids come back and be like, I spent it all. Do I get more now? It's like, you do not. Thank you
Work
for
harder.
asking. Earn
Work
more
hard,
next
make
time.
more.
Were they allowed to pedal off anything that they purchased to get some money back to
A
buy
resale?
something? Yes.
They could have. They may have. I don't know.
Some
some tried that last year.
Yeah.
But no, this year they did pretty good.
Oh, thank you for letting us come again and brag about our kids. Thank you.
And it was fun.
It is a lot of fun. Oh, yeah.
Seeing the kids.
Their smiles tell it all. And their frustrations tell it all, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to public comments. Our crowd is thinned out pretty much. But now's a chance to make public comments. Anybody wishes to come and talk to the board, advise the board, say anything they want to say, you're welcome to come down in 3 minutes.
Can I say something real quick before they leave? Mrs. Caldwell? Mrs. Caldwell, you mentioned earlier about bringing your cow. Since Mr. Coiner's here and we already have the little greenhouse area out by the school, I'm in support of that. And if we need to put up some type of fencing, I'm supportive of that too. I can help. I think it's a neat idea. So. Okay.
Hello, my name is Russell Biber. I'm from Brightwood, and I would like to meet the young person that took his $10 or her $10 and put it into their stock portfolio. That's the one you want to meet. I've made comment before about the education system of America, public schools, focusing on the Lord, on God. And I received a phone call just after a day or so after that meeting, and the person on the other end quoted it and asked me my source, and they said, well, if you go online, you'll find that they have a lot of critics. Well, I don't know of anyone that doesn't have critics. It's like a car dealership. Some people swear by them, some people swear at them. But I just wanted to share with you tonight something that I had found since I was given permission by this person to look on the internet for critics of the Bartons. I found on education.com regarding education in our country. The time period is 1850 to 1877. Under the subtitle of professionalization, it says one of the major functions of early superintendents was to introduce a uniform course of study in school systems under their direction. City Superintendent William H. Wells' Graded Course of Instruction for Public Schools of Chicago, published 1862, was adopted as a teacher's manual by many cities and set an example that would be emulated for years afterward. An excerpt from that book, the Graded Course of Instruction for the Public Schools of Chicago, page number 17, it says, little anecdotes and familiar examples illustrating the love of brothers and sisters, the respect due to the aged, kindness to animals, mutual love of companions and associates, benevolence, etc., are among the best means of cultivating these virtues. Teaching mainly by example will accomplish far more than any formal catechism of moral instruction. Teachers should frequently read to their divisions short, entertaining narratives and make them the subject of familiar and instructive conversations. But he goes on to say that teachers should tell them of God and point them to Him. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Anybody else? All right. Thank you. That brings us to any board comments to respond to public comments. Anybody on the board want to respond to the comments? And that brings us to staff reports.
No staff reports tonight because of teaching, learning, caring. We knew that would take a big chunk of time. So we do have a business information, though, which it could have fallen under either one. The business information tonight is the teacher salary scale that was created based upon the discussion that was had at the work session. The salary scale will look very familiar to you, Mr. Wingate. It's actually kind of where you landed when we took a little bit of scale B and scale C. Then we realized it was pretty much scale D, which is what you had developed. It was a little bit of both. So you'll see it all already has the 3% on it, and then 0 to 4 years is an additional $250, 5 to 9 is an additional $500, and then 10 and over will be $1,300. And so that was again created based off your all's discussion, and Ms. Patterson has been working on contracts today, so we hope to get them out tomorrow. Yeah. And
Thanks
as of this afternoon, we have a budget as well. The governor signed the budget bills, so we should expect a calc tool very soon.
Thank you to you and everybody for all that hard work. That was a lot of back and forth. It went on and on and on. And I think, I hope that the principals, and I hope to spread the word. I mean, we really want to recognize excellence and recognize people committed. And I hope that's the goal, was to really recognize people who've been in the school in education for a while, and to kind of decrease the gap between us and a lot of surrounding schools, and to know that we want to be competitive in that way. So that's the first step, not a last step, but a first step in that. So thanks everybody for their hard work in doing that.
Thank you. I think that's all.
That brings us to business approval. We have three business approval. The first one is the proposed revision to the school year policy. There's a policy already, but there's a draft proposed revision to that we kind of talked about last time, and I just want to talk about it real quickly, just make sure everybody's on the same page what it is, and then we can open up for any discussion and vote about it. There's obviously the idea about the Christmas holiday and things like that had caused some controversy, and so I just kind of wanted to have a policy so we don't argue about it every year. And so it's a firm foundation for going forward, and so that the calendar committee doesn't have to wonder what's going on, and the board lays out clear guidelines. So that's what this does. Three main things. Number one, it bases it on the Virginia state law. There's Virginia state law in the code that says in Virginia there'll be 12 legal holidays, and they name those 12 legal holidays. And so in the policy it just says we're going to name our holidays off of Virginia state law that was developed through the democratic process, reflects our traditions, our history, our culture. And so there are lots of other holidays that are great holidays, wonderful holidays, but on the calendar we're going to limit it to what the law says it is. So there was some talk about this as our personal list and based on our personal ideas, but it's just not true. I mean, we're basing it on Virginia law that lays out 12 holidays, including Christmas. And so where we come upon those holidays, that's the name we'll use on the calendar. Number two, it says that when we will recognize all holidays. Holidays are important because they reflect something important in our history and tradition and culture. And so when school's in session, schools will ask schools to recognize those things like Memorial Day and Veterans Day and Martin Luther King Day and Juneteenth and all those things in a positive manner. It's part of our character education kind of policy. We want our students to be great American citizens who love our country, and so it's an opportunity to do that. And so we say we're going to recognize all those holidays in a positive manner. And the last third of 3 points, it says that other holidays, things like spring break, can be added to the calendar. They'll be named generically by spring break, something like that, if they're not on the Virginia state law list. I think this also proves that this is not a personal list. I love Easter, and I think it's of utmost importance. But we're not going to name our holidays Easter. It's not on the Virginia legal list. If there's a holiday that aligns with that, and the committee and the board decide to have a holiday in that time frame, then it'll be called Easter break. And so we're founded on Virginia law, which is founded on our history and our traditions and our culture. And I guess the last thing I just want to say is, I do think that it's in some ways it's a small thing. It's not a big deal. But another way, there has been in the last decades. There's been movement to kind of minimize the role of religion in public life, and I think moving to winter break was part of that. And, decades ago, before anybody in here was involved. And I think it's an important step to say we're going to be really neutral, not hostile to religion in our public life. And so I think it's a good step to say that, and it aligns with our First Amendment and our Constitution in all those ways. And so I'm happy we're going to do that tonight. So that's the revision. Any comments or questions about the revision?
I have a couple of both, to be completely honest, comments and questions. My comment really, part of this, the part that you kept is the advisory committee composed of teachers, parents, and school administration will be used to propose this calendar. I feel like some of these revisions tie the hands of that committee. Part of being a teacher is not getting a big voice. We don't get a voice of what we teach. We don't get a voice of what our children do. We don't get a voice of how to deal with discipline and things like that. The calendar committee was always one that I liked as an educator because it kind of gave you a voice. And so I think some of this, having it in here, even just something as simple as leaving June and July free, it kind of takes away from some of that voice that our teachers and our parents and that committee has. Again, as an educator, I can say that that voice is not heard often. So when you get the opportunity for it, it is something. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. I do think that recognizing each holiday is something that, again, that's legal precedence and things like that. I do think now we just voted on Christmas break. Now we're calling it Christmas and New Year's break according to this policy. Summer break will no longer be summer break. It'll be Juneteenth and July or Independence Day break, because that's what it says. Additional days off that are around a holiday will be. So, I think it's just, I'm 100% behind recognizing our holidays, 100% behind recognizing all of these dates. But I think there's how do we, if we have an extra, I think there was one school year, I don't know if it was here when I worked in Culpeper, where there was a day off around Labor Day. It was the Friday and Monday for Labor Day. Would that be Labor Day break? And things I think it's one of those things where I understand where you're trying to go. In my personal opinion, it's taking it one step too far because we're not considering, like I said, when we talked about, the winter break versus Christmas break, and now it's Christmas and New Year's break, which I think I said, so I can't even do anything about that one. But it is one of those things of now we're taking away summer break because Juneteenth and July 4th falls in summer. So it's no longer summer break.
No, I don't think so. I think there's got to be some common sense. I think summer break is not because of Juneteenth. Unlike Christmas and New Year's break is because of Christmas and New Year's. So I think the board will have some.
This says it's because it's the middle of the semester. It's the middle of
I know, but there'll be there'll have to be common sense that says we're not breaking for the summer because of Juneteenth. We're having that one day, and then we're going to have a summer break. So there'll definitely be some wiggle room to say what the committee will make recommendations. We'll approve it. So there is still freedom of maneuver for that committee, I think, to make those calls, and their hands are certainly not tied in that way.
Yeah. I do think, and there's a lot in this, for the record, there is a lot in this that I agree with. There's a lot in this, I don't have a problem with. I think, spelling some of the things out, but I do think, it says a minimum of 10 days off between the fall and spring semester, but that's, what if we have a year where we do end up starting late and the fall and spring semester ends in January? Are we going to take 2 weeks off in January and then that is our winter break? Because that happens sometimes too.
Sure. So all policies can be revised. So this is a starting point, and we can make if that happens, then we'll make revisions. I think.
Well, I guess if we're making a policy and already saying, well, we know we're gonna revise it, we may need to revise it for XYZ reason, why not consider that in advance and maybe like have a way, even just changing some of that language, like, because are we off for 10 days for Christmas and New Year's, or are we off 10 days for the split of the semester? And I think it's been the goal for, I remember when we went from going to school after Labor Day versus going to school in August, and that's always been the goal, is to finish the semester before Christmas break. But, you know, it is one of those things too of sometimes it doesn't happen. So do we want to just, I mean, we could say instead the last 2 years of, or 2 weeks of the school, or the calendar year should be taken off for, you know. I mean, so it's just, it's things like that, like, I mean, and I thought about like sitting here and coming up with like just the different scenarios of like where maybe things need to be tweaked language-wise or things like that, but I do think it's something to consider, like, yes, we're not off at the end of the school year and through to the next school year for Juneteenth and Independence Day, but according to this policy, it states that, you know, to me, it states, because it says breaks related to the holidays and, you know, and in and around
But I
should
mean,
be.
our common sense is, I mean, you know that summer break is not around either Juneteenth or Independence Day. I mean, that's not what the summer break is.
I mean, I know that, but,
So
I mean.
It takes common sense to understand, to do any policy. I mean, you could take any policy and pick out things without common sense, it won't work.
Well, but I think, well, and I guess I'd look at it too, like policies are more legal type situations. Like, I mean, it's, common sense says a lot. I think you're a very intelligent person. Like, I think you are, you know, you did a great job in writing this. But I think when we put something in writing and say this is what we'll follow, it is, it takes the common sense ultimately out of it. Like, I think it's, you know, if we find that, I'm trying to think of the right words, but like, I mean, when it's written, it's black and white, there are no shades of gray, right? Like, if we write it differently, like, we can write in the shades of gray, but ultimately, when we write it, we're ultimately writing it as if somebody has no common sense.
I think a goal of a policy is to get out of the shade of gray and get into the black and white so that people have a direct direction to go and not wonder what is right or what is wrong. So I make a motion that we approve updated policy ICID for the school day as presented.
Before we go, any other comments?
Yeah,
Any
I'm
comments?
just a little confused, like, I don't understand, like, you just said that, you know, common sense applies for Juneteenth not classifying the summer, but common sense for, Christmas is a religious-based holiday. Christmas literally has the word Christ in it, and we only celebrate Christmas for one day, just like people celebrate Juneteenth for one day. We're not off for 2 weeks because of Christmas. I mean, there's like a bunch of other religious holidays within that 2 weeks. So that's like, I'm not completely understanding like what you mean by what you were saying, like common sense applies that Juneteenth is not classified summer. But why do we get 2 weeks off just for Christmas? Like, we only celebrate, people who celebrate Christmas only celebrate Christmas one day. So that, I feel like that kind of contradicts itself. I don't understand that, genuinely, I really don't.
So I think that tradition and history and culture say that the 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, around Christmas has, you know, it is celebrated. Christmas is celebrated for more than one day. I mean, there's a history of celebrating it for 12 days of Christmas, things like that. So there's a long history of celebrating Christmas for 12 days. Just like Thanksgiving break is a 3-day or a 5-day break. We call that Thanksgiving break, not just the fourth Thursday in November break, right? We call it Thanksgiving break. And so I think we understand. I think everybody understands sort of the objections, and I note your objections. I do think that if you think that we can make it better, I'd like to vote on it today, and then we can always, if you'd like to you can draft a revision. We can consider it and vote on it at a later date.
I do, honestly, I do think it could be better because, I mean, this just seems very geared to just, one specific group, kind of. I mean, if you're talking about mentioning other holidays, comparing Christmas to Veterans Day to Memorial Day, I feel like that's not a comparison because it's not a religious-based holiday. Why are we not talking about the other religious holidays that students here celebrate? Like, that's where I'm like a little confused at, like, I genuinely do not understand why why Christmas is the only holiday that's broadcasted in a public school, when other holidays fall in that same exact timeline that people celebrate as well, when they don't celebrate.
Yeah, I understand it can be hard to see. I would direct you to state law that says Christmas is on the list of 12 official holidays, and I think if ultimately if we want to change that, I would talk to the state legislature, because it is one of the 12. That's all we're doing, based on state law. So. I think if we do want to make it better, I think we can do it later, but, we can continue to revise it, but I think it's good to have a foundation for moving forward. And so I'd welcome a motion for the vote.
One other, just teeny tiny question. If this goes, I'm assuming the way it's going to go, but then are we revising next year's calendar immediately to no longer call it Christmas break, but to call it Christmas and New Year's break as following this policy? That's, specifically what it states.
Sure, I think so.
Okay.
I second.
All right, Ms. Patterson, Ms. Krupp, you want to call the roll? So we have a motion to approve the revised policy.
Mr. Martz?
Aye.
Mr. Sheets?
Aye.
Mrs. Wood?
No, sorry.
Mr. Wingate?
Aye. All right, so the revision passes. Ms. Kyler did ask me to say that she was in support of this also. She's not able to vote, but she is in support of this policy. All right, moving on. My glasses on. Policy updates. There are a lot of, 28, I think, policy updates. Really small. That we looked at, we saw last month. Super small. Most of them are either moved around in the policy or the legal number, date, code number was changed. I think, Ms. Graham, I think you highlighted a couple that we looked at. Anything else that we should be aware of before we do these?
Yes, I guess just the big question is whether or not you would like to keep the IKB homework policy in there or not, because it had been removed.
What number is that?
IKB. Did I do the wrong one? No.
Removing it.
IKB homework.
I have a question about removing it, because it was one of the things I had written down. If we remove, removing the homework policy does not remove homework.
No, not at all. You just
So-
don't need it in your policy manual. But if you want to leave it, that's also perfectly fine. So that's why I brought it to your attention, just because they're removing it, because it's not legally required to be there. But if you'd like to have it as a guide in the policy manual, that's fine. So I kind of recommend just leaving it, but
Removing it, you said?
leaving it.
Leaving it? So, Mr. Martz, what do you think?
Yeah.
I personally don't see a reason to keep a policy to maintain homework. Teachers always make that kind of their individual piece, and having some flexibility with that, I think, is a big deal. That's just my personal take, so I don't have a problem with that being removed or deleted because it's not legally required.
Ms. Wood, what do you think?
I'm honestly, I could go either way on this one. I do think, some of it, making sure that students have access to materials and things like that, I just honestly just spoke to a kid that goes to a different school. The teacher assigned a project to be taken home to be done in 2 days. And she's like, I don't have money to get a poster board, and was all so some of those things, I see why they're there. But, I do think, having homework or not having homework it should be up to the teachers as well. But I don't think that's what this policy really says either.
And I can take points from the homework policy and incorporate it into our student handbook. It can be written in another location.
So,
which is fine.
sounds like the board wants to take it out. Is that okay? So beside that one, aside from that one, any other questions, comments on these? So
They all looked good to me.
so we'll consider a motion to approve these.
So motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And the motion passes. And last one is a purpose to recommend that the school division remain in the Albemarle Regional Migrant Education Program for the 2024-2025 school year. Ms. Graham, will you tell us what that's about?
Yes, this is just where we're able to be a partner because we do have such a small group of migrant workers. This is specifically for a student or a family that has youth that have moved into the area solely for agricultural work. That's exactly what it's for. So that just gives us a greater support network than what we would be able to provide in our own staff. So.
Any comments, questions? Entertain a motion to approve the what's it called? The Title I, Part C, Education of Migratory Children.
Motion to approve?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And motion passes. Thank you. All right, and last thing is reports. And we'll go down the line, Mr. Sheeds.
Oh, we had a good capital improvement project meeting, CIP meeting, this past week. The chiller that was being installed at Waverly Yao, that's basically complete. Needs they need to test a few things, which may have been done already. This been a few days ago, so they just had to test for refrigerant leak detection. In case there was a leak, the detection and stuff needs to work. They have to make sure that's all working. There are makeup air units, which basically as you lose air in the building, there's machines on top of the building that filter new air to put it in the building and condition it. And those units are needing to be replaced. Initially, it was 4 units, price tag of $1.4 million. We agreed and voted to spend $85,000 on a study that is looking like it's going to be able to eliminate one of those units. So will save us about $200 and some thousand. So that's something that's going on. The boiler that was messed up over here in the art room, insurance is paying $188,000 toward that. Boiler's in storage. Riddleberger has it installed, begin as soon as the school is out. There is also for the chiller, there's obviously this deals with water. So there's some water piping and some valves that they had to shut off to get this chiller installed. And it turns out one of the valves is bad. And there's 2 valves, a redundant valve also. So this is also something that's going to be looked at getting repaired. It is what it is. What they want to do is replace both of these valves while the system is down and install just a shut-off valve. These are the valve that's bad is it's an adjustment valve for how much water flows through to get everything right for the cooling, chilling capabilities. They want to put an inline valve, shut-off valve, so that in the future, if these need to be worked on, replaced, we don't have to bleed off the whole complete system, which is what they're looking at doing. There's a neat idea of possibly nitrogen freezing a section of the pipe and creating a ice plug to get these valves out, but we're still looking to see who can do that because the pipes are kind of big. But that's all I had.
I have nothing other to report than a couple amazing parent meetings with some people about facilities, school concerns, other aspects, and I sadly had to miss the Blue Ridge, Virginia Governor's School because of SOLs at my school that I was helping out with. Thus, Ms. Graham will fill you guys in on that portion.
Thank you. Ms. Wood.
I don't have any, I was gonna say something, now I've completely lost it, but like, it's just that time of day. Oh, I'm really excited about graduation. That's all I wanted to say, like.
And Ms.
I
Crow.
don't have much. Just prom was last Saturday. It was pretty good. Miss Wyndham was out there dancing with me. And then my last day and the seniors' last day is this Friday, but we won't really be here. We'll be at Busch Gardens. So technically our last day is Thursday, I guess. And graduation's May 25th at 9 a.m. That's about it.
It's coming fast.
I'm not.
And Ms. Graham.
The governor's school meeting was mainly about approving the budget, so they did, and it's approved, so that was good. And then we do have a need for sometime during the summer, so we don't have to decide tonight, especially since Nita's not here, but we need to have a school board retreat, because there is a documentary I would like for you all to watch. It's called The Right to Read. We viewed it twice now, so everyone involved in the Diversity, Opportunity, and Inclusion Task Force, they've watched it. And Dr. Reese came to one of those meetings, and she has already showed it to the Waverly staff. And I think Mr. Queener has the documentary now, or his lovely librarian does. He's nodding, so he has it now, because she's on the committee, so she took it to him. So we're going to have all the staff watch it, but definitely something we want to show to you all as well, because it's all about the science of reading and why it's so important and what we're incorporating. So start looking at your calendars, and we can pick a date once we have everybody here.
And the only thing I have is our thank you to the middle school and high school. Thank you for our last walkthrough. I think it's a good walkthrough. I've always been struck at primary school, all 4 schools, how well you all maintained the buildings. I was struck by how clean they were and in good order, and I really thank you for that. I admire that, and it's a good, it sets such a good tone for your students to have that order and everything. And so commend you for all that. I'm always struck by that. So thank you for all your hard work in doing that. And I think that's all I have. A motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say
Motion
aye.
seconds. Aye.
All right, I'm going to use my gavel. Thank you all for coming tonight.
My parents haven't been to a single one of these, Chris.